I'd like to call this Board of Finance meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yep. Approval, I need a motion to approve the October 23rd minutes.
So moved.
Second, good, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Was I here?
Yes.
I was.
Yes,
No.
I don't
Yes,
think you
that
were.
was the
I don't
one when
think I-
Stacy was not able.
Oh, that's right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Chair's comments. I have several, but I will. Finance member committee comments? Anyone?
I'll just say, Gene, thank you for your years of service, very much appreciated. Heard a lot of respect from both sides of the aisle for all you've done for the town, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I didn't know we were discussing it, but thank you, John, for opening the door. But Jean, I've been following you for years on various boards, and you've always been a mentor to me and always very welcoming and willingly kind of taken me under your wing. And I want you to know that I really admire you and your service to the town over many, many years. So thank you. It doesn't go unnoticed. I'm very grateful.
Thank you
For your
I
leadership.
appreciate that.
I'd like to say something too. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Just to echo, thank you for everything. I know for some of us, we've been on for a very short amount of time, but you took us under your wing to get us up and running, to understand things. Definitely appreciate that. You are going to have big shoes to fill.
And I just want to thank you for all of your work over, I don't know how many years it's been, Board of
A lot.
Education, Board of Finance.
It's been a lot of years.
I'm happy for you personally, but
Thank you.
it is, as Matt just said, they're going to be huge shoes to fill.
Thank
Lots
you.
from
It's
Madison.
a loss.
Thank you. Yeah, if people don't know, I'm gonna be a grandmother and I'm retiring from my public life for that. So I'm very happy. It's been a pleasure. I am thrilled to hear that people are volunteering now for positions in the town. And it is very rewarding. And as you said, I've been doing this for a lot of years. I will miss it, but it's left in good hands as I look around the table. And I appreciate, I really want to call out Stacy and Kristen, who for years have been supporting on the Board of Ed and here. It's been a pleasure to serve this town and I will miss it, but I am on to bigger and better things. So I'm happy about that. But thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Report from the First Selectwoman.
Well, first of all, also.
So promise me a drink after this
Yes,
meeting.
I did. So, do want to echo all the sentiment here. Obviously, we worked closely together over the last number of years, and you've always been a great partner. You're always putting the community first, and you also respect the process and you respect the employees. And so I just appreciate all the service that you provide to us, because I think it's been important to have people who really care like you and dedicate so much time and really take the time to understand and appreciate all the work that goes into government. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And obviously, best of luck. And in terms of any other report, only just want to highlight, we're moving forward with our bonding process. We're hoping to get the final news on our rating, but we're confident we're going to get our rating affirmed. And the town will be issuing more bonds in December, but all good news so far. So
That's great. Thank you, Peggy. Citizens' comments. Jeannie, is there anybody online?
Not with hands raised.
Okay, great. Thank you. So first agenda item, discuss of proposed revisions to the Town Deferred Compensation Plan. I need a motion.
So move.
Second,
second.
discussion. I just had one question, Stacy, about the budget impact on this.
Yes, I think Deborah. Yeah, so our HR director,
Okay.
Right, that's sorry, I already started in here. But yeah, maybe you can walk through, I just want to highlight, we're doing this, it has been more than 10 years, I think, since the plan was originally put together. There's a lot of like wording in the document we really need to update and fix. And then we started looking at how we are from a parity standpoint in terms of what we provide to employees. And so that's part of your packet, I think.
Right.
And so you want to talk through the recommended changes, and then there is a budget estimate that we have.
So, right now, all of our union contracts are at a maximum match amount of 7%. So this would only affect the unaffiliated employees. Currently, there's about 25 unaffiliated employees that would be affected by this increase. Not all of them do this 6% match, which is what we're at now. So not all of them would be impacted because they're not contributing the most that they can.
Great. Questions?
Yes, Deborah, just because I'm newer, what is an unaffiliated employee?
Non-union.
Anyone else? Good?
And I think the process would be, you would eventually be coming back with a markup of the plan. This will go through the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, and then go to town meeting to get approved, because it's changing the pension plan or the defined contribution plan.
Right, and
But,
also
yeah.
we're looking to change the grading schedule. Right now, it's a cliff vesting process, and we're looking to do it as a graded vesting, so 20, 40, 60,
For
80,
each year,
100.
up to 5 years. Right now, you have to be here a full 5 years, or you lose all your matching. Which is kind of out of market also. And
We're doing this to be more competitive with other organizations, towns that we try and recruit from. So we find that this is probably one of the things that we could do. Because we are changing the plan document, we would need to have it reviewed by our attorney. And then it would go through Board of Selectmen, it would go through all the different stages up to the town meeting. So this is just really the first item to get it going.
And there will be a budget amount associated with this, which is around $18,000. That can be a conversation, that only impacts because of the increased matching. So that can be part of the budgeting discussion, but we want to at least, if you're good with most of these changes, get the document reviewed and all that, and then we'll have the opportunity to weigh in on different changes in the document.
Because in the end, it's the budget.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
well, yeah, there's the one budget item.
Right,
Would be
okay.
just the matching piece that would affect the budget.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Jean, can I just request when we get to that point that we have a more formal presentation as to what it currently looks like and what, I know you did that in the packet. But on the Board of Ed, that was super helpful to really just walk through it
Yes.
and look at the budget implications.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve the return of $80,452 in the CIP CNRE residual project balance to the CIP CNRE Master CNRE Account approved by the Board of Selectmen on 11/12/24. Any motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
Can someone explain how this happens?
Yeah.
So if I can, and you can too,
No, you
but the
go.
idea is that the projects came in under budget, so we have residual funds that then go back to the larger fund. So they're just returning it. It's
So
always,
from the project back to the
Right.
CNRE general fund.
it's always good to take money back.
Absolutely. I love taking money back. And how does that, at that point, get disseminated to the different projects? Who decides?
That would be Ted.
That would go back to the CNRE Master Account, so the CNRE fund, that balance will be increased by that amount.
So it's like a general fund.
Kind of like an unassigned fund balance, as Peggy said.
Yeah, no, I'm going back to CIP this morning and looking at things that we thought might need to be funded more and wondering how that gets assigned to specific projects.
Yeah,
Who
this is all
does that.
CNRE, none of the other funds.
So we're not doing anything else but taking it in right now?
Yep.
Okay. We can accept money.
Uh-huh,
Good.
please bring it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Good. Now, discuss and take action to approve funding requests from the Madison Police Department in the amount of $18,650.
Nope.
Did I skip one?
Yep.
I apologize. Discuss and take action to approve funding requests from the Beach and Rec Department in the amount of $50,000 from the CIP CNRE Master Account. See, they take it out right away. And the CIP CNRE Town Campus Maintenance Garage Restoration Project approved by the Board of Selectmen on 11/12/24. I need a
So moved.
motion. Second?
Second.
Discussion. So I have a question. When I look in the packet, what's needed is not the 50, so why 50? Isn't it only 30? 31K?
So if it does not get to that 50, then now come back like we just did for that previous motion.
So we rounded it up.
Yeah,
But from 31 to 50?
Yeah, I was,
so that was like a contingency along with Ben from our facilities department after walking through with contractors. And as needed.
Because this has to still go out. You have to, you don't.
This is off a state contract.
So if we approve 31 instead of 50, and then it needs more, what's the problem with that?
I would just come back.
Any questions? Huh?
I like that approach.
Okay, to come back or to give it to them?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really generally have a history of rounding up.
yeah, and that's pretty considerable.
It's an off a state contract. This is a firm.
The actual bid minus the budget was 31,000. And then I think it was rounded.
We talked about it, that's after. Okay, I thought we didn't have a firm price on it.
So additional funding for 31 overage plus project contingency, which will be returned if unused, is requested from the CNRE Master Fund. That's in your packet.
Is that because this is the thing, you take the skin off, right, and there's structural things, that was the thing. Because it's replacing the skin, it's not, building a new building, right, so there, I don't know, that must
Yeah,
have
so it's the building right down here that you see.
been
when
that
you
really
pull in.
ugly.
So we're gonna try to keep the structural integrity of the building, so all the steel frame that's there. And replace the inside mechanicals, electrical and all that, plus the skin that's around it.
So do you have a bid for 31?
This is off of state contract, that's what the bid came in at, correct?
For 229,
For what?
229,000. It's in your packet. That was the total
Okay.
response. We have budgeted,
So 31.
247 is the.
220, yeah, I'm sorry, 229 was the budget, 197 was what we can apply towards the 229, so we were short 31,000.
Okay.
And I think as far as contingency items, it was increased.
Discussion?
I would just say if it's a $229,000 project and we're putting in a contingency of about 10%, I mean, I think that's somewhat in line with common practice. I thought at first 19 or 31, the difference between 31 and 50, which is 40%, which, yeah, I was going down that road. It seems too
Right.
much. I guess, I think what we're left with is, are we okay with putting 10% contingency on this project by this motion? That's the way I look at it.
Okay. Jude?
I have a question. Is there a contingency already built into the $229 budget?
Well, the total budget would be 247,961. The total. Yes, there's not a contingency built into that. That's the price from the quote that the construction firm gave us.
If we just went with the quote, though, we would only have 31,000, for
Correct.
sure, but you wanted to
Correct.
add a contingency on top of it. So, because this was originally under budgeted in CIP, so the price has gone up.
Many years.
Right, it's been in the
It's
river
been in a long time,
ever.
yeah.
So if something
So
does happen,
That's what Ben did, is he put in contingency.
if something does happen, we could come back. That's the way you want to go.
Thoughts?
I'm kind of good with the 31.
Okay, 31.
I just don't wanna set, I think if it came to us with the contingency originally, I'd feel differently, but
Yeah.
it just, I think it's a bad habit to get into.
I agree.
Okay, so if we change it to 31.
597.
Not to.
Oh, Bob, I apologize. Sorry,
Yeah, I'm here. I'm with you. I'm okay with the amendment.
31. So do I move to vote this down or do we amend it?
We can amend it, I think, in 31,597, which is a complete difference.
31,597. So I need a motion to approve the number 9 item. Instead of 50,000, we're gonna go for 31,597. Any
I'll second.
second? All in favor of the 31,597? Opposed, abstentions. And again, it doesn't mean you're not gonna get it, we just
Yeah.
wanted to keep it on that.
Understood.
Okay, good. Next, discuss and take action to approve the funding request from the Madison Police Department in the amount of $18,658.60 from the Emergency Services Communication and Equipment Fund for the purpose of voice recorder systems for 911 services approved by the Board of Selectmen on 11/12/2024. I need a motion? Second. Discussion. So I guess my question is, why didn't we know about this prior?
So this was a piece of equipment that usually lasts about 15 years. So we're about 10 and a half years into this. So we thought we had several years left with this piece of equipment that records all the 911 transmissions, 911 calls and everything. So we thought we still had several years left with this equipment, but it failed. It's a piece of hardware that attaches to our radios and phone lines.
Does it back up the 911 calls?
Yeah, so it records, it keeps in line with the retention laws that we have to keep all our voice recordings and 911 calls for 3 years per state library and everything, retention laws, so.
Okay.
We've been working to try to keep this thing going, but it's failing on us,
It's bad.
yeah.
Discussion, any questions? Richard? Good, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve the round 22 ARPA funds requesting total of $88,100 approved by the Board of Selectmen for 11/12/2024. Up to $38,700 for beach and rec for the new outdoor benches for downtown center. $4,000 for Vibe Show Choir and purchase of trailer, second request. $22,400 for Wellington and solar panels, second request. $23,000 for ABC House for renovation project, second request.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. This is under the 25,000, right?
That's our goal for CIP, 25,000.
Okay. Questions? Everyone good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve the allocating of all remaining ARPA funds, ARPA, project balances as of December 1st, 2024, and any future balances that may become available to the Madison Hose Building Addition Project approved by the Board of Selectmen on 11/12/2024. So what does that mean? I know the money that's left over, we're just automatically gonna give it to Madison Hose for that building?
Yeah, so we've been coming back how many times trying to track all the balances. So what we decided was after these that you approve, any balances that exist as of December 1st or any balances that come up afterwards, if we encumber $5,000 and the actual expense comes into 4,500, we don't want to lose that 500 because we have that deadline of December 31st. So this was a catch-all. Any balances left, we're going to assign to the ELC project where we either already expended or already encumbered those dollars.
This was kind of, accepted, the auditor said this was fine, having this blanket thing. So if something comes in March, for example, from an ARPA project and there's 20 grand left, they'll just sweep right into the CIP project, the EOC project.
In this way, we don't lose a dollar.
Right.
I think when you
It
said
protects
catch-all,
our
that
money.
was what we talked about last month.
Exactly, yeah.
We're definitely gonna spend more than what we take in ARPA, so we're not leaving anything on the table.
Any questions? Bob, you good? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve the releasing of funds for the planning reserve in the amount of $25,000 to fund consulting services for an IRA tax credit for the town campus geothermal project approved by the Board of Selectmen on 11/12/2024. Second. Discussion.
Yeah, can we, what's the explanation of this?
Yeah, so basically, the geothermal project, we can get, this is for the, town campus one. There's $800,000 that we fronted that we're hoping to get back, right? This is with the IRA, program that was passed by Congress. But in order to do so, it's very complicated and you need to have all your ducks in a row when you do the application process. So there's a consultant that we're working with and you gotta pay for the consultant, but they're experts in this and we have a high degree of certainty that we'll get the funding back, once we do the paperwork. So for $25,000, we'll get our $800,000 back, hopefully. And plus the school project is the other one we're gonna probably.
Yeah, we'll talk about that next.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a separate commitment, but yeah.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Discuss and take action to set the annual interest rate for the town tax deferral program. Second.
Second.
So my understanding of this, we do this every year, right?
Yes,
Correct.
we're required.
We're
to.
not making money on this. This is just so that
It's supposed to be a benefit.
a benefit, okay. Discussion? It's not a money market, it's just a benefit for the town. All in favor?
Wait, we have to set the rate?
Yeah.
Oh, to set the rate, so we're gonna set it at 1.5.
1.5.
Let's keep it at 1.5. You're fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve the 2025 Board of Finance meeting schedule.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
works for me. All in favor?
Aye.
Don't come on it. Hey, hey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Discuss and take action to approve the 2025 budget workshop schedule approved by the Board of Selectmen. So moved. Second, discussion. Again, why not? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
You don't have to enjoy it so much.
I know. See you guys. All in favor, opposed, abstention, motion carries. You're gonna miss me, aren't you? Discuss the 2025-2026 budget.
So moved.
Second, discussion? No, good.
No,
no. Go ahead.
Right. This was your idea to begin
I
with.
know.
So I believe this was a setting expectations discussion that we had hoped to have as a board to help the other boards so that there's not, a last minute scramble when it finally comes to us. So
So I think here's my thing, again, I'm leaving, so.
yeah, you can say what.
The Board of Finance has a very clear vision of what what the money is in the town. And I think our point is that there's a lot of good ideas, things are out there, but at some point, the buck has to stop somewhere. And although we may philosophically agree with something, we also have to take pause and say we are responsible for the town's money, people's incomes. These are difficult times. And we want to make sure that we're responsible. So I think what we're trying to do is to establish some kind of understanding before the budgets come in so that there's no surprises, which I would always argue there are no surprises. There is always discussion in the leadership of the town before the budgets come forward. And what we're looking for is a responsible budget in order for us to support it moving forward. Awesome. Any other thoughts, comments?
I think it's great. I mean, we saw it from the last budget cycle. This is definitely would be a benefit, I think, to help all groups out, all departments, leadership. So definitely in favor of it.
Anyone else? Thoughts? Just
I was just gonna say, I think your point is a good one, and bears repeating that. You know, the budgets before they come to us are by the town staff and by the individual boards are gone over a lot, and tough decisions are made all along the way. And so, you know, it's not that, but I think your point that there's only so much give to be had, and I think by us setting expectations that it makes it easier as you're making those difficult decisions to figure out kind of where you're going. It's always nice to be able to say, oh, we can do more, but you know, our commitment to the mill rate staying low and you know, doing our best to keep taxes down, I think is big. And so coming from the financial arm of the town, I think it's important that we kind of set the stage to make that easier. So then what's the expectation? I don't know. John wants to say something.
I think we communicate what we expect, you know, to come in here and say, well, we're looking for 2% or less or 4% or less, you know, I don't think that should be the process, but I think we should communicate that. And last year, I think, Matt, you're right. I you know, being one of my first times in a long time going through this, I got the feeling that the budgets were looked at, scrutinized closely before they got to us. We still had some decisions to make. But I think it goes without saying, if there's a very significant increase, I would have a problem with that. Of course, it depends on what your definition of a significant, very significant.
And to your point,
increase
hats
is.
off to Peggy, because you know, during that process, you went back and had to have those tough conversations with your departments. And, you know, thinking about for your team, what's going to make it easier for your departments to have some constraints, some goal constraint to grow into, and then force those conversations amongst the department. If I really need this, what am I willing to give up?
So I think there's always that perception that everybody gets what they want, and I don't think people realize that when it gets to selectmen, it does get cut. The Board of Finance does do additional cuts sometimes. And I think it's because we and the Board of Selectmen take everything under account before we make decisions. And we believe in the fair and equitable distribution of town funds. And I think when we decide at any moment, whether it's the Selectmen or the Board of Finance, that looking at everything, this is what the town can afford, and that is our charge as the Board of Finance. And it is not directed at any one department, it's not directed at any one sector of the town, but we do take into account what we can afford, and we make sure we stay within that responsible spending. And I think that's why we're elected, that's why we exist. And I will say I have always been comfortable with the relationship between the Selectmen and the Board of Finance. We've been able to have these conversations. I will always talk about the joint leadership meetings. You know, I've been chair of a couple of boards in this town, and I will say, and I will continue to say, when people come to meetings and they're shocked, nobody is shocked when there are reductions in budget requests. We have discussions. It's not arbitrary. They're not done in isolation. And I want people to keep that in mind as you move forward, that this town works very well together. We are all citizens of Madison. We all want the best for this town. We vote based on Madison, not based on party, and I will continue to make that statement. But sometimes we have to make tough decisions. But when you hear the narrative that they were shocked, we're outraged, we can't believe it, it's nonsense. Nobody comes to a meeting when we reduce a budget and doesn't have a clear understanding that that was happening. This is why we're doing it. And they always have an opportunity to make those reductions on their own before we make them. But in the end, it is our fiscal, as fiduciaries of this town, it is our responsibility to make smart decisions. So moving forward, know that everybody on every board has the best interests of this town at the forefront. And any other narrative that comes out of it is nonsense.
Yeah, I would also add too, I think Jean, having come from the Board of Ed like I did, you know, there are so many things that in the budget that are not in our control. You know, with contractual obligations and healthcare costs or prices of construction and things like that, but it's not a well with no bottom. So I think that, you know, has to be a consideration when building the budget. And it's not easy, and I wish there was a money tree. It's always hard to say no to very worthy, again, but rationale behind the projects and the asks are not that they're not worthy, it's just tough decisions have to.
I think when people are comfortable with the increases in our mill rate, that's because we offset the mill rate with our reserve accounts. And I have said from day one, and I will continue to say, that is not an endless fund.
I will say it for you.
And although we do it, that is taxpayers' money. It doesn't come from other places. So if we offset it to reduce your mill rate, it's a great thing, but don't assume that we will always be able to do that. And every time we offset the budget, we are artificially inflating the base of the budget. Sooner or later, you have to pay the piper, and sooner or later, it's gonna catch up with you. So be cognizant of that because of the and I always give credit, and I'll go back to Fillmore and all his predecessors. We have a very healthy fund balance, undesignated fund balance, and that's why we're able to offset the mill rate to do things that the community wants. But keep in mind, that is not an endless fund. And you have been taxed on that money, and we are giving it back to you within the offsetting the mill rate, but that is not going to be forever, and you need to be cognizant of that voting forward on things.
And this board has been unified in wanting to be even more conservative with the reserve in that fund, undesignated fund, because of the increased cost of things.
And, you know, I always say, you know, when you go back to look at the natural disasters that we've had and hurricanes, and we have been able to repair things in this town, to protect people in this town based on our undesignated fund balance. We get reimbursed by the feds and the state, but we are able to do it without them initially so that we can do it faster. That is a reason to make sure that fund balance stays whole. So we can always pull from that when we need to pull from that. So a respect for that fund balance and not to drain it to the point at which it would, in the future, if needed, hurts us, is something we always need to be cognizant of. Anyone? John? Bob?
Jeannie, I just want to say I'm really going to miss you, and I just really appreciate all of these thoughts that you just gave at this meeting. And you know what? We live right around the corner from each other, so I'm going to see you all the time.
We're gonna see you. We're in the same neighborhood.
Can't be a public liaison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give her a break.
It's been a lot of years. Comments, thoughts? I don't have any specific number.
Same.
Yeah, no, I don't think
I
that's.
think it's gonna require future conversation.
Yep.
Yeah,
But we were looking for respectful budgets to come forward, as I know the selectmen is also. Good, review financials. Do we have money?
Mhm.
Good.
I did not send out the updated fund balance, it has not changed. So if anybody has any questions, fire away, otherwise it's pretty much status quo. Everybody else.
Citizens comments, Jeannie, is anyone?
Just town employees on.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. I will say one thing, I retain my right to say something. I have so appreciated all my time here.
Aw.
I've appreciated everyone I've worked with. And I've worked with a lot of people in this town. I will absolutely miss everyone, especially Stacy and staff, Kristen. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and any way that in the future I can serve that doesn't take my time, or nasty letters from people, I absolutely want to stay involved. But I thank you, and I encourage people. I think literally it's been 17, 18 years I've been doing this. And I encourage people to move forward and volunteer. You can't complain if you don't vote. You can't complain if you don't volunteer. And I encourage people, we are a very strong community. We're a very strong town. I know if you watch Facebook closely, you don't believe that, but just because people are loud in a small number does not mean they are accurate. And I ask you to respect the people that put their time, their families, and it is a sacrifice for families. My husband's always said, if I lose by one vote, it's his. He votes against me every election. So just keep in mind that people are giving of their time and their sacrifice to help this town. And it's because they care about this town, whether you're a Republican or whether you are a Dem. Don't lose sight of the fact that Madison comes first. And I do believe everyone that I have come in contact with believes that. And I encourage people to put their time where their mouth is, and come and see what really happens. And the town is a special place, and I am privileged to have served. I'm privileged to have 4 children that went through the school district. And I am really looking forward to seeing what comes next for this town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're here. Time for that.
Good. Questions, thoughts? Thanks, Bob. Motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are out. Thank you.